wondering, why is it that I want you to learn yet something else? As if Python or engineering or automation wasn't enough, I'm asking you to learn Linux. And the reason why that is that what is this class? Engineering, IT automation, right? Look at the description of the class. And I'd rather you build tools of automation utilizing a virtualized OS rather than your actual OS. Because remember, when you virtualize a Linux application, or even if you virtualize Windows 11 via UTM or something like that, you run the risk of only affecting that particular application. And you know, all of these virtualized applications, virtualized operating systems are nothing more than programs that you install on your PC or on your laptop. So guess what? If you mess it up somehow, you can just delete it and basically reinstall it. No harm, no foul. So some of the tools that we're going to be developing are things like, removing directories, moving directories, copying directories, and you don't want to be doing that on your home system. Yes, you want to build tools, experiment with tools, and you need the freedom to do that. Well, in order for you to have the freedom, why work in your existing directory? Why not utilize a separate virtualized OS? And that way you can get to know literally all the tools at virtually no risk. And besides, the idea of this class to begin with is technically you're preparing for your first interview. So why wouldn't you basically take the time and energy and effort to learn everything that you can? Remember, the more you bring to the table, the better your chances of getting hired. And that applies to every genre, every sector of job. All right, the central point of any Linux distribution, even Kali, is the terminal interface. So you're going to see this a lot, and it will probably be your main way to communicate with Linux as an operating system. So right now I am on Kali, and most of you think of Kali as Kali, but it is a distribution of Linux. So once you know one distribution of Linux, you know multiple distributions. So one of the most popular commands out there to use is ls. Ls, of course, lists the directory contents. So we have desktop, documents, download, music, pictures, and the like. Another command is pwd, or present working directory, and that is our current working directory. Another command is who, and that lists everyone that is logged on, because keep in mind, this is meant to be a network operating system, so it's meant to have other people from either remotely logging in or people maybe, at another desk in your same office logging in. But whatever, it's meant to be for example, web server or DHCP server. It's meant to have multiple people, basically in SSH server. It's meant to have multiple people logged in. So you should run the who command frequently so you know who exactly is logged in. Now, another command, another aspect of running these commands is that when you think of the present working directory, and I call them commands, they are actually programs. So they're more than just commands, they are programs. So it's like you're running the program ls, and whenever you run a program, you can tell it how exactly you want to run it. So ls, and just pressing ls and enter, that implies, I'm going to run the clear command here, that implies that there's a certain default to it. So the default behavior, meaning there are no parameters given to this program, the default behavior is that it just simply runs the bare bones, gives you the bare bones information. But for example, you can run ls-l, which is the long version. The long version gives you more information about the directory. So instead of saying documents, it actually tells you your permissions. Okay, so that is long. Now, if I said ls-a, and again, the dash represents what we call a switch, and this shows hidden directories. So anytime you see a directory with a period before it, that is what we call a hidden directory, meaning if you just type in ls, you recall that you just saw these right here, these four, and if you type in ls-a, -A, you will see the hidden directories. Now, the hidden, as I said, are prefaced by dots, and they're hidden for a reason. They're for administrative purposes only. And you notice that these documents, when it's in blue in Kali, it represents other directories. Now, if I create a file, I'm going to go ahead and create a file. We'll say sudo. Now, sudo is a command that you have to preface other commands with that allows root users, root user privileges. So I'm going to go ahead and create a program, sudo touch and first.py. So I will create a program called first.py. So that's like creating a Python program. And if I type in ls, we can see that here it actually shows it, and it shows it in white, which means that it is a file as opposed to these guys that are directories. Now, if I say ls-ls-l, it'll give the long version of the file directory layout, and you can see here that it was created September 20th at this time. Now, obviously, there's nothing in it, so this reflects the fact that it has 0 bytes, whereas these have 4096 bytes. Okay, now if I went ahead and ran it, so if I added to it, how would I add to it? So we can say sudo vim. Vim is a decent text editor. It's been around since the 60s, and let's go ahead and run it. And if we said print, I have to press, I apologize. I have to press I for insert. Once I press I for insert, it is here. We can say print hello. No, you know what? We'll say h equals hello, and we'll say print h multiplied by 10. And we can also say my list is equal to 3455, and we can say my list 2 is equal to 5534, and then we will say print my list 1 is equal, meaning comparison to my list 2. And to get out of here, to quit this, but at the same time write it to the memory, we press escape, and then we type in the colon symbol, and then we type in W as in whenever, and Q as in quick, and press enter. So we have now saved first.py into our system. Keep in mind, we have to preface any command we want root access to and any command we want to save with sudo. So now, before I even run it, I'm going to list-l again, and I can see that there are now 82 units now in this folder. And I'm going to run this, and you know what? I have an error right here. My list. Okay, so I just forgot something. So this is troubleshooting in the live, I guess you could say. So I'm going to put list 1 here. I should have put list 1 before. So I'm going to say colon WQ to write this, and I'm going to run this, and we have hello multiplied by 10, and we have false here because, of course, 3455 is not equal to 5534. Now, what would happen if we then I type an I for insert, and where I'm going to say list 1 is equal to set of my list 1, and I'm going to say my list 2 is equal to the set my list 2. So I'm now going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to highlight this line, type in C for copy. Hopefully this. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say print my list. Oh, you know what? What was this? My list 0 equals. That should be list 1 equals my list 2. Anyways, so my list 1 is equal to my list 2. So even though my list 1 equals my list 2 is repeated, I'm going to say that this should be false, and because these are sets, this should be true. So let me go ahead and write quit so that saves it and quits at the same time. And we have false and true. So Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make if I type in ls again, I want to kind of clean this up. What I want to do is I want to create another directory just for our Python programs. So I'm going to run the make dir command or program, and I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to call it Python 3. And within Python 3, I'm going to say make dir Python 3, and then I'm going to say week 5. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change directories. I'm going to say change directory, Python 3, week 5. Now I'm in that directory. And before I do that, I want to go back to the directory I was just at. So I'm just going to say cd, and that will allow me to be at my last directory, my home directory, I should say. Now what I want to do, I want to change this first.py to that Python 3 week 5 directory. How do we do that? We use the move command, mv, and we're going to say move first.py to Python 3 week 5 directory. Press enter. So now if we type in ls, we can see that that program first.py is no longer in our current directory, our current home directory. Again, you can verify where you're at by doing pwd, and then we can go and change directory to Python 3 week 5, and we can type in ls, and that's where that first program is. So I want you to look up and do your own research and just learn and understand how to simply get around the get around the Linux terminal. That will basically that will yield dividends in the future, because you're going to be using this program, this Kali program, not only for this class, hopefully, but other classes. Like anytime you have a cybersecurity class, Kali will be a nice tool for you. And anytime you want to work on your own exploitation and cybersecurity projects, Kali is also a great tool for you. I really hope you enjoy the ride and you really enjoy learning Linux. And these next videos you're going to get from me will be geared toward Python, and I want you to learn Linux on your own, not only for this class, but for your other classes, but also for your own sake. Good luck. One more thing about Vim. Vim has been around a long time, since the 60s. It was basically implemented by AT&T Unix system. So the reason why text editors were so big back then is because they didn't have Microsoft Word and they didn't even have Notepad, but they did have Vim. And Vim allows you to do a lot of different things. So first off, they have different modes. So even to insert, well, I'll just give everyone an example. I'm going to go ahead and quit this, and I'm going to go back in. And the first thing you do is you type I to get into insert. Now, to get out of insert mode, you type the escape button. And let's say you wanted to copy a line. Let's say we want to copy H equals hello. We can put our cursor over it and we can type in Y. Now Y stands for yank. We can think of yank as copy. We then go to the line that we want to paste to, and we can type capital P for paste. And there is the line H equals hello. To get back into insert mode, we simply type in I, and now we can insert. Now let me delete this. Now to save this, and I'm just gonna do a comment right here. This is a comment, and let me just change that. To save this, we can say exit : WQ, and we can save it. Now notice that in order to make sure that the file is savable, we have to preface the vim command with the command sudo. And sudo allows us to do things that, like, write files, do things that, install updates and install files, install applications. It allows us to do things that would only previously be allowed to do if we were root. Now, when we log in with our hostname, we don't log in as root. So if we want to do something that is root level, we have to type in sudo and then the name of the program that requires root privileges, and then the parameter for Vim, which is the name of the program that we want to edit. As I said, the only way you're going to really get to know Linux and get to know things like Vim is to do your research and to use Linux every day, and that way you can get used to going in and out of filing systems. Now, I know Kali is used generally for hackers and things like that, but we're using it here as your default Linux distribution. To me, it's a great Linux distro to utilize different things, not just hacker exploits. It's very well made. It's made by a company called Offensive Security, and OSCP is a great cert to get ready for and to say that you got and everything. But anyways, Kali is just a very stable Linux distro, and I recommend everyone use it if they want to make themselves more marketable, not just for this class. And of course, again, we are simply using it for Python, but it can be used for so much more. If you asked most people about using Kali to learn Python, they would probably say that is tantamount to maybe renting a large 2-ton U-Haul to move like a bag of laundry from one house to the other. It's completely overkill and unnecessary because Kali is basically built for exploitation and gray hat hacking and ethical hacking. However, I've always liked Kali for the purposes of even learning Linux and learning Python, simply because it just is a very mature OS. It comes with a lot of packages already installed, most of them being exploitation, but because of that, you're getting I believe Java is already installed. I know Python is installed. If you want to test that, go ahead and go to your terminal and simply type in Python 3, that word Python, and make sure you have the number 3 after it, and then you will get into a real IDE, an actual interactive development. And yes, the tab button works, unlike Microsoft Windows. I like people who buy Microsoft Windows computers and laptops and things like that, because it just seems like you get the best of both worlds, because you can go ahead and load up a VMware, and then you have Kali as well. And also, I believe Windows comes with WSL, which is your bridge to, I believe it has Kali, it has Debian, it has Ubuntu, it might even have Mint. So it's got all the big, most popular Linux distros built into it. You'll just have to go to YouTube and figure out how to enable Linux on your Windows laptop through WSL. That being said, of course, learning Kali to learn Python seems like, wait a second, you're learning two things. But as I said, the more you know. All right, and let me just end this with just one more thing. I know I'm the king of one more thing, but it just will take literally 5 seconds. All right, you may want to take the time to look at Kali as an overall distro. You can activate these icons right here. Some of them are very obvious, but here is the main icon for the applications, as you can see, and here is information gathering. They're all kind of categorized, and there are applications that are in more than one category, such as Metasploit. But we have information gathering, we have vulnerability analysis, we have exploitation tools. You're going to, in your other classes, you're going to spend a lot of time with the Metasploit framework and the set toolkit. We also have engineering tools. Again, the set toolkit is under here. I want you to begin to work with the OS OS and understand how you can log off and restart it and power off and things like that, switch user. Well, you don't have to switch users, but here's a restart and shutdown. I just want you to understand a lot about the OS. I also want you to begin to navigate through the directory. So you go ahead and make a directory, and we'll call it my dir for the heck of it. And notice when you have to utilize sudo and when you do not have to utilize sudo. So you utilize sudo whenever you need, say, root privileges. So in this case, to make a directory did not require root privileges, but yet installing updates like apt update or apt upgrade does in fact require root privileges. So you might have to Google what actually does require root privileges. And anyways, the OS will tell you to begin with. So if you want to install, let's say, cal, you want to go ahead and run cal. It's not found. So it says you can utilize and run ncal. Okay. So that what is, I don't even know what ncal is. And that leads me to another command. This should be your leading command. It is the man command. Now the man command will tell you what these programs do. So ls obviously allows us to look at the contents of our current directory, and it'll list the directory in blue. Now that's specific to Kali. In Debian, another version of Linux or another flavor or distribution of Linux might do it differently, but in Kali the directories are in blue and the programs or files themselves are in white. But I had mentioned that if we do ls-l, we get the long listing. But are there any more switches? I'm going to run clear on this desktop, and the man command can tell us what switches there are available. So we'll run man ls. Man, of course, stands for electronic manual. Now, the man command or manual comes with each distribution of Linux by default. So we'll just press enter for man ls. And what does the man output can actually comes in a uniform standard format. We have the name ls and what it does in the most succinct manner possible, and lists the definition of what ls does, which essentially just says list directory contents. Now the description here is a more detailed description, and here are the switches that are available. Now if it's a relatively short list, it stops here and you can type Q for quit and it will quit. However, if there is more information to be seen, and there is in this case, you can press the down button and then you can navigate downward and we can see the different switches that are available. And here is -L, use a long listing format, and with the switches you can combine them as one. So you can say list, and you recall -A listed the hidden files and directories, and -L listed the long version. So we can combine them by saying ls-al, and it lists the long version of the list, and it also lists the hidden directories and files as well. And that's about it. The only other thing I can tell you to start with Kali to really get productive is to create directories and learn how to navigate through your filing system. So to move up, because right now if you type in pwd, that's your present working directory. So if you type in cd, that gets you back to your home directory, and you can do pwd again, and this is your home directory. Of course, the home directory is the username that you created. But is there anything beyond this? And the answer is yes. But to get above this, you can say change directory and then : front slash, and that brings you to the directory prior to that. And if you type pwd, now you're just in the home. If you type in ls, you actually actually have access then to get to your home directory. But if you type in ls-a, we get to the hidden directories. Now, what happens if you do this again, in which you want to go above this directory? Now, if you type in ls and if you type in pwd, you're in the root, and the root directory has all these classic traditional directories right here. Device, etc. We have the root directory. Now, notice the root as in front slash and the root directory that's actually spelled out root are different. And of course, this is not a Linux class. Now, if you want to get back to your home directory, you just type in the letter CD and you're back to your home directory. If you want to get back, if you want to type in ls to see what directories are available, you recall we created the directory for Python 3. So if you want to go to that directory, you type in, let me try this again. Let me do clear to clear things out. You type in CD and then Python 3, and then you type in ls, and then to get to week 5, you can do CD week 5. Now, to get back to your home, press CD, and if you want to take a long use a longer command to avoid Python 3 and then week 5, you can say CD3, Python 3, week 5, and that takes you right to your week 5 directory. To get back to your home, you type in CD again. Just so you know, a lot of you have been maybe wondering, if I type in CD, then all of a sudden this little thing comes up. That's just for autocomplete purposes, and that doesn't mean it's naturally going to be run. Anyways, okay, so that is about it for this particular video. I hope everyone enjoys their Kali or Linux ride. Again, this is not necessary to get points in this course. I should say it's just advisable that you take this time to get Kali installed for this class and other classes, and for your future as a learner, because you never, even after you get your degree from this school, you never, ever, ever stop learning. Never. And I know my favorite phrase is one last thing, so I just wanted to say, to get into Python, the Python interactive development, you just type in Python 3, press enter, and you are in that version of idle. And guess what? The tab button actually works. So if we have a equals the string of a and a dot and press tab twice, we have all the string methods available to us. And if we said a equals list a, and then we have a dot tab, we have all the list methods for us. And one more, I'll just do a equals set of a and a period tab, and we have all the set methods for us. All right, that's really it for this video. Thank you for watching.